Hi everybody, today we're going to start on page 19. It's the last day that we're going to talk about angle relationships in circles, and then we'll learn how to graph them and we'll be set for the year. So just like yesterday when we talked about an inscribed angle, it was always half of the arc. Remember, inscribed, it needs to be the vertex on the circle. Well, that was with two angles in the whole angle was inside of the circle. The same thing's true here though. So if you look, here's your angle. It's going to be half of this arc. All right, so let's say this arc is 120. This angle is going to be 60. All right, so the angle's half of the arc, just like yesterday. When you have two chords and your angle's not at the center, you're going to basically find the average of the two chords. Because if you have an angle that's right at the center, let's say this is 50, then your arc's 50. Well, if it's not at the center, you're going to take this arc, and then you're going to add them together and cut them in half again. Okay, so let's just try some. So it says, determine the measure of SQR. S to Q to R, so this angle right here. These are the same because they're vertical. So basically you're going to take the average of the two arcs that they form. So the angle is going to be equal to 1/2 of 100 plus 32. Half of 132 is going to give us an angle of 66 degrees. MNQ. So MNQ. This angle here should be more than 90, right? It's a big obtuse angle. So again, look at the arcs that are formed by them. So we'll do 1/2 of 91 plus 225. Oof. Okay, and you get 158 degrees. Now be careful. Sometimes they'll ask you like what this little angle is here, so then you'd have to take and subtract that from 180. Okay, the last rule that we're going to talk about is external angles. All right, so if an angle's outside, it's equal to taking half of the difference of those two arcs. All right, so let's say if this is 100, this would have to be 360 minus 100, right? So that would be 260. So you do half of 260 minus 100. Half of this minus this. Half of this minus this. Okay? So if it's inside, you're going to take the average. So you'll do half of the sum. If it's outside, do half of the difference. So let's start with one that's straightforward. Angle X equals half of your major arc minus your minor arc. All right, so half of those subtracted, we're going to subtract them and divide by 2. Half of 76 is 38 degrees. Determine the value of X. Okay, well this time it's an arc. So again, the angle equals, so since the angle is 25, half of 83 minus X. All right, got a little algebra to do. If you want to get rid of that half, it's dividing by 2, so let's multiply both sides by 2. So 50 equals just 83 minus X. Subtract 83. You get negative 33 equals negative X. We can't have negative. If you just have a negative X, divide by negative 1. So that angle is going to be 33 degrees. Okay, with this, it only gives you one arc, but remember, those tangent lines, if you want to find the bigger arc, just subtract 360 minus 116. So this is going to give you 244. So now the angle equals half of your big arc minus your small arc. So just subtract 244 minus 116 and divide by 2, and you get 64 degrees. Okay, this one's kind of different. It wants you to find the measure of AF. Okay, well, first of all, we're going to use that first rule that we talked about. If you look at this angle right here, 110, it's half of its arc. So if you double 110, you get 220. So that means from here to the other side of your angle is 220. Right? Because it's double the angle here. So now if we do 220 minus 160, you get 60 for this. So now if you look, you have 60, 160, 48. Add those up and subtract from 360 to find the missing one. All right, so 60, 160, and 48 gives us 268. And then if we take it, if we want to find this missing part here, 360 minus the 268 is going to give us a value of 92. Okay. It's kind of like a puzzle, just seeing what you have. All right, last question. So this angle's 4x. The small arc, the minor arc's 8x plus 1, and the larger arc is 18x minus 15. Remember the angle, we're going to set up an equation. The smaller angle, or the angle equals half of the big arc minus the smaller arc. But be careful when you subtract 8x plus 1. Sorry, a little thunder out there. You want to put it in parentheses because you're going to subtract both parts. Because if you just put 8x plus 1, it's going to throw you off. So I want to subtract the whole thing. The big arc minus the small arc. Okay, so let's get down to it in a little algebra. It's not so bad. Multiply by 2. So we get 8x equals, we'll do 18x minus 8x is 10x. Negative 15 minus 1 becomes negative 15 minus 1 is negative 16. I'm going to subtract the 10x. It's faster. You can subtract the 8x. You'd be left with 0 over here, but you get negative 2x equals negative 16. Divide both sides by negative 2, and you get x equals 8. And that's all you had to find. Okay. The only thing I wanted to point out to you, on your homework, you've got some to try. They're a little bit tricky. Do your best with them. This one right here, number 21, you're looking for ABC. So you're going to find this first. So x equals 1/2 of its inside, so it's the sum, 100 plus 45. All right. And then you get 72.5. But that's not your answer. This is 72.5. If you want to figure out this part over here, this angle you're looking for, you're going to want to take and subtract 180 minus 72.5. So just look out for little things like that. Okay, I want you to try these questions on page 21 and then the review on page 22 as well. Do the best you can. They're not that bad. And then we'll just learn how to graph circles, and we are pretty much done. So if you have questions, just let me know. I'll talk to you soon.